All right, it's gonna be a video on how to build one of these little Killdozers with my Creality Ender 3 V3 SE printer. So as you can see, I've made a couple. I just got this printer a couple weeks ago. I got a friend that said he's got a guy at work that wanted a few of these to give away. So I'm gonna show you. Basically, I just found the file online, the STL file on Thingiverse. I'll put a link down in the description below on printing this Killdozer. This is a full-size print, and I just felt like this was too big, takes too long, so scaled it down. This is a 100% scale. This is a 75%. These two are 75, and then this is a 50, or actually this is a 50. And actually decided to settle at 55% scale. And basically so I can keep some of the details that disappear at 50%. But yeah, basically, going to show you all the process I had to go through from finding the STL file online to doing some of the different supports. I'd never done supports before, so this was all new to me. And yeah, just showing how I did the supports, slicing, and then just some quick time lapse on printing and putting it together. So I don't know how to do screen record and voiceover stuff. So basically I'm just gonna show you how I do this with a camera on the computer. So these are the 5 files I got from directly from Thingiverse link, which again I'm gonna put below. So the 2 gray ones are gonna be front and rear. So I'm gonna show how I set those up in Creality Slicer. So you just got to open up the slicer first. Go to import model, and I'll go to that file. So I'm going to import the front, and I'm going to do both of the gray pieces at first. I'm going to import front, and I'm going to import rear. These two are the ones that print gray. These are the steel parts. So again, the first thing I'm gonna do is select both of them. I'm gonna go up here to scale, and I'm gonna scale them to 55. The reason I do 55 instead of say 50 is because when I do 50, I notice that when you go to slice it, it doesn't keep this detail here on the back. So bumping it to 55 keeps this top surface on this little, whatever this is on the back here. So one important thing for this model, again, I just got into 3D printing, is that you need supports enabled on this. So I've already got it auto set to support. So basically you click on supports here, and you're gonna click on enable supports, and go to tree. So I found that tree is the best. And I don't know if I changed this the first time or not, but I've got it set at 25, then I click on build plate only. So then I'm going to slice this, and it'll show you where all the supports are. What I learned is that I don't need these supports. The part's so small that you don't need these up here. So I'm going to go back to prepare. I guess you don't need these two, and you don't need this one back here either. So first thing I do, again, this is on the front piece. I don't do anything to the back piece. It's fine as is. But the front, I'm going to just remove these two actually. So the way I do that is you go to prepare, click on the object, go to support painting, and if you right click and hover over these areas, it'll tell you the support trees to not do supports there. So you can see now those supports are gone. These little green things are the supports. And then another thing I learned is that when it's building these corners here, it's really hard for my printer to print these. So I'm gonna add supports on these corners so that it prints these bottom sections good. So if you look, at first it's just building these thin kind of cantilevered lines, and mine kept failing the first times I did that. So I'll do that next. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna find it first, go to support painting, and instead of doing left mouse to say no supports, I'm gonna do the right click on the mouse. Whoops. And I'm going to add supports here at the corner, and then maybe just add a couple here to give it a little bit of extra support as it builds that first cantilever line. So again, just left clicking with the mouse. Oops. Right there. And one there, slice. And now it's going to support the corners. There you can see these little green things here, so that's good. I think that's about all I did for this one. I left these here because it doesn't really add much trees. Don't need trees inside of these holes, so that's it. With that, I'm going to go ahead and maybe just arrange this a little bit better on the table so they're a little bit closer, so my printer doesn't have to move as far, and go ahead and print, or at least export it to my thumb drive. Okay, so here's these pieces done. Bend that to get it off. Okay, and now I just need to remove all of these support pieces to get the parts I want. Alright, so there's the gray pieces cleaned up. See, there's a fair amount of junk left over. I'm just using these cutters that came with my 3D printer. So let's move on to the yellow pieces next. Alright, so for the yellow pieces, I'm going to, I think it's axles, yep, hook, and plow. Again, I'm doing all these at scaling to 55%. And I'm just gonna let it, I think, print however it wants. I guess one thing maybe I did do is rearrange these. Let's see, can I rotate this? Okay, I think I did this just to make everything print kind of more in line, more compact. But besides that, I don't think I really did anything special with the supports on this one. So here's what the supports look like. Oh, I do remember I did add one thing. So on move this out of the way. On this piece, I was worried about these two pieces having issues when they're printed. Oh, nope, don't do that. So what I ended up doing was just adding a bloop there and a bloop there. So once it gets about halfway up, it will be supported. So move this back in here so it all prints nice and compactly. Slice plate. And hopefully, yeah, so none of this is touching, so that's fine. And okay, and you can see where it added some support halfway up on these bars, so here and here. And besides that, I'm just going to let it kind of do its thing. You know, you could remove some of this stuff if you wanted to because it doesn't really need it, but it's not really adding much much print time or anything. So I guess the only other thing I could do is maybe move these a little bit closer so there's less travel time between the pieces. Again, you want to make sure that they don't overlap. So that's about perfect. So I'm going to export this and print it. So for the next thing we need to do yellow filament. So I'm going to swap out this gray for yellow. Alright, last thing to do is the treads. So just going to load it first, then I'm going to clone it. So I need 2 at least. I'm actually making 2 of these right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and print 4, enough for all the ones I'm doing, and then I'm going to again set these to 55%. I will auto arrange them and then slice this and print it. So this doesn't need any supports or any adjustments or anything. There we go, pretty easy. So I'm just going to slice, put it on my thing and print. The only thing I got to do next is change my filament to black and then just print it. So I'll do that next. Alright, so finally in time to assemble. Got everything printed out. Just so you know what I'm doing, I've got 5 of those done already. So doing these for friends at work because they all one-on-one after they saw what I was doing. So these kind of go together okay. That's the best way to do is to put this on the tracks. Actually, I'm just going to show you how they go together first. And it goes back here. I have to mute this video. This goes back here. This goes in the front, and the tracks go on the wheels. So everything fits together pretty snugly. I do have issues with the tracks going onto the wheels and this hook going into this back piece here. So I'll start with the track and the wheels. So what I've been doing is getting some sandpaper. It's pretty rough. I don't know what grit it is, but it's very coarse. Basically, I'm having to sand these wheels down. Basically, I start doing on the bottom and then I also do a little bit of that. And a little bit of this, just to kind of get these edges rounded. And then I'll even do it on the face like that. So it takes a little bit of time. Just do a little bit until it gets snug on there. So I'll do that in time lapse. Alright, so you can see I did a fair amount of sanding, and these tracks kind of barely go on now, but it's enough. So once you can get them started, you can squeeze them on both sides. There's also kind of hammering them with a piece of wood earlier too, but just keep doing little by little until you can get them on, and they're on pretty snug. Okay, so the other issue is this little hook. See, it drops into this little notch here. The circular parts goes in the top there, and then it's supposed to swing. Kind of got to force it into these gray things. It's supposed to swing into there and clip into these little slots in there, but it doesn't line up. So I tried sanding these slots down or sanding these down, and it's just really annoying. So what I did instead, I'm just cutting this plastic. So I line this up so I can see where these slots are, where this has to go in. I mark it with my Sharpie about there. Basically it has to cut out like that to fit. So instead of trying to sand it and make it fit so that it goes into those little slots, I'm just trimming it. It's a lot easier. But do teeny tiny clips at first to kind of stress relieve the plastic, because if you go in with a big clip, you might break a bunch of stuff. Basically I just end up doing like a big kind of triangular notch that's a little bit bigger than what needs to be taken out. Again, start with a little. See, because when I did that, I don't know if you can see or not, but it did a big crack in it. But anyways, the idea is to do a big triangle. Now this should go in. I think I missed it.
Willie, you need to put, are you putting your toys on your shelves?
Gotta go a little bit higher.
I'll just be throwing them. Are you just throwing them?
I don't know how to get kids to put their toys away. Let me know.
Excuse me?
Sassy kids.
I didn't say that. We are just little children. Don't listen to him.
Alright, so once that's in there, and the rest goes together pretty easily. So I'm gonna got my tracks on there. This has to slide into this notch right there. So make sure it's all the way against there. This should be flush in the back here. This goes in there. It's easy to do with the gray piece by itself. You might need to do some sanding depending on how your printer did that day. That's pretty much in there. Hook goes on. And the last thing is this is supposed to go in here, where these two little bars go into the gray piece there, right here and right here. Just a little big, so what I do is just very carefully sand the sides of these two little kind of antenna looking things down, just so it slides in a little bit easier. Again, very lightly. You don't want to break these things because they feel pretty delicate. And now they should slide in there better. And really what you're doing here is just lining up the little triangle right here. That lines up with this triangle. And make sure that goes up to there. And then I just put it flat, and then wherever these end up is where they end up. Probably gonna end up gluing this here and here. But everything else I think I'm just gonna leave as is. Maybe I'll glue the hook on the back, I don't know. But maybe I'll just leave it like this. So that's it. That's how you put together a Killdozer using the STL files that, again, I'll link below. So, hope this was helpful, and happy building.